You can make money and still be bankrupt. You can be admired by millions and still be hollow. You can climb every ladder society puts in front of you and still realize too late it was leaning against the wrong wall. Success, in the eyes of the world, is a spotlight. But substance is what's left when the lights go out. It's who you are when no one's watching. It's the quiet integrity behind the noise. And make no mistake, without substance, success is just decoration. So the question is not, how far can I go? The question is, what kind of person am I becoming as I go? Because success without character is a hollow victory. Fame without discipline is a ticking clock. Wealth without wisdom is just speed toward ruin. You don't build a meaningful life by accident. You build it by design. By deliberate choices. By painful sacrifices. By learning to say no when it would be easier to say yes. By outgrowing the version of yourself that keeps you small, keeps you comfortable, keeps you ordinary. You want a meaningful life? Then you'd better stop chasing attention and start cultivating intention. Start asking, what do I value more, how I look, or who I am? What do I invest in more, my image or my integrity? What am I building, just a resume or a legacy? There's a difference between being busy and being intentional. Between movement and progress. Between ambition and purpose. The world will reward you for being impressive. But your soul will only be satisfied when you become real. And being real? That's hard. It means doing the work no one claps for. It means being consistent when it's inconvenient. It means holding the line when temptation begs you to fold. It means mastering your moods, governing your impulses, and treating your future self like someone worth sacrificing for. It means choosing the long road. Not the shortcut, not the viral route, not the hack. Because the long road builds endurance. It builds discipline. It builds you. Anyone can chase outcomes. But building substance means learning how to become the kind of person success can't corrupt. The kind of person that pressure refines, not destroys. The kind of person that still stands when the applause dies down. You see, there are two kinds of growth in life. Growth of the outside, and growth on the inside. The world is obsessed with the first. How fast can you scale? How big is your following? How much money did you make last quarter? But the inner scoreboard is different. It asks, how honest were you? How deeply did you love? How courageously did you show up when it mattered most? Those are the questions that echo in the quiet moments. Those are the standards you live with when it's just you and the ceiling at 2 a.m. And here's the truth they don't put in motivational posters. Growth doesn't always feel like success. Sometimes it feels like breaking. Sometimes it feels like you're losing. Because real growth often means shedding your old skin. Losing friends who only knew the lesser version of you. Walking alone for a season while you rebuild. Letting go of your pride to tell the truth. Choosing discomfort over ease. Silence over noise. Substance over surface. It means you stop chasing what's popular and start building what's personal. You stop asking, will they approve? And you start asking, will I respect myself for this? A life of substance doesn't happen all at once. It's slow. It's deliberate. It's built one decision at a time. One disciplined morning at a time. One hard conversation at a time. It's forged in the fires of repetition. When no one is watching. When no one is applauding. When the grind feels meaningless but you keep going anyway. Because you know who you're becoming matters more than what you're achieving. There will be days when quitting looks easier. When your past calls you back. When the old habits feel safer than the new standards. And those are the days you must remember. Comfort is a liar. It will never give you peace. Only relief. And relief is temporary. Peace is earned. Peace is paid for in discipline, in honesty, and pain willingly endured for a future worth living. So if you want that peace, Stop asking for guarantees. Start asking for grit. Stop hoping life gets easier. Start hoping you get better. Because it's not supposed to be easy. It's supposed to make you strong. Strong enough to say no to shortcuts. Strong enough to choose your principles over popularity. Strong enough to build something that lasts longer than applause. You want to build a life of substance? Then stop outsourcing your responsibility. Stop blaming, deflecting, excusing. Take ownership of your time. Take ownership of your attitude. Take ownership of the narrative you're writing with your life. The people with the most peace are not the ones with the fewest problems. They are the ones who've aligned their actions with their values. Who show up every day and live what they say they believe. Substance is not a gift. It's a construction project. Every choice is a brick. Every habit is a beam. Every hard decision is steel in your foundation. And yes, it takes time. Yes, it's exhausting. Yes, some days it feels like no one sees your effort. But eventually, a structure rises. Not a mansion of ego, but a fortress of character. And when the storms come, and they will come, your life won't collapse. Because it was built on something deeper than applause. Deeper than image. Deeper than ambition. It was built on truth. Substance is built in silence. It grows in the early mornings when no one is watching. It grows in the lonely decisions. When doing what's right costs more than doing what's easy. It grows in the invisible disciplines. Waking up when you said you would. Finishing what you started. Telling the truth even when it makes you look bad. That's where character is forged, in the small, quiet decisions that don't make headlines but shape destinies. You see, most people are addicted to outcomes. They want the result without the responsibility. They want the transformation without the trial. They want the glory without the grind. But a person of substance doesn't chase ease. They chase excellence. And they understand that the path to excellence is inconvenient. It's uncomfortable. It's inconvenient by design, because if it were easy, it wouldn't be valuable. Growth isn't a hack. It's not a one-time event. It's a lifestyle. A decision you make every single day. That you're not going to coast. That you're not going to hide behind your talent. That you're not going to settle for being almost great. Because being almost great is what most people become. They get close to the edge of change. Then they retreat. They feel the discomfort of new standards. And they fold. They flirt with discipline. But never commit. And as a result, they live a life that looks good. But feels empty. They confuse achievement with fulfillment. They climb the ladder, but never ask where it's taking them. But a person of substance, they do it differently. They stop chasing validation and start chasing alignment. They stop asking, what will people think? And start asking, what would the best version of me do right now? And sometimes, that answer hurts. Sometimes, it means walking away from a crowd you've outgrown. Sometimes, it means setting a boundary that makes you the villain in someone else's story. Sometimes, it means giving up a shiny opportunity that doesn't match your principles. But if you want to live with peace, if you want to build a life that feels as good on the inside as it looks on the outside, then you'd better start listening to your values more than your fears. Because values are like anchors in a storm. They keep you steady when everything else feels chaotic. They keep you from drifting into regret. But here's the thing. You can't just have values. You have to live them. Every day. When it's convenient, and especially when it's not. That's the mark of substance. It's easy to say you believe in integrity. It's harder to live it when lying would make you more likable. It's easy to say you value growth. It's harder to embrace the pain that growth demands. It's easy to talk about goals. It's harder to structure your life so that your habits reflect those goals. Words are cheap. Execution is expensive. But execution is what makes a man or woman unshakable. Because when you live with integrity, You don't have to fear exposure. There's no double life to hide. No facade to maintain. No fraudulence to fear. You're the same person in the dark that you are in the light. And that's a rare kind of freedom. You want to know how to build a life of substance? Start telling yourself the truth. About your excuses. About your laziness. About your insecurities. About your patterns. Not to shame yourself, but to reclaim your power. Because what you don't own, you can't change. And what you won't confront will quietly control your entire life. Your habits are not neutral. They're either building your future or destroying it. They're either carving out strength or feeding your weakness. There is no standing still. So let me ask you, what kind of person are your habits building? Do your habits match your ambition? Do your daily choices reflect your deepest values? Or are you hoping that somehow you'll get to a meaningful life without living meaningfully? Hope is not a strategy. Wishing is not a plan. If you want depth, then you have to dig. If you want strength, then you have to strain. If you want clarity, then you have to cut away the noise. And the truth is, most people won't. They'll stay busy. They'll stay distracted. They'll stay comfortable in the shallows because the deep water demands too much. Too much vulnerability. Too much discipline. Too much honesty. But not you. Not if you're serious about living a life of weight and worth. You see, greatness isn't just about doing more. It's about being more. More thoughtful. More principled. More disciplined. More aware. Because success is not about what you get. It's about what you become in the process. And if what you become isn't strong, isn't real, isn't grounded, then all you'll have is a house of cards dressed up like a castle. You don't want that. You don't want just the illusion of greatness. You want the kind of life that holds up under pressure. The kind of life that whispers to people without words. This is what integrity looks like. This is what resilience sounds like. This is what real feels like. And the beauty is, you don't have to be perfect to live that way. But you do have to be intentional. You do have to be honest. You do have to get off autopilot and decide what kind of person you're committed to becoming. Not just when it's easy, but especially when it's hard. Because that's where substance is born. In the dark soil of discomfort. In the hidden roots of routine. In the hard, invisible places that most people will never see. But that's what makes it real. That's what makes it yours.
You don't need a crowd to become great. You need a code. A personal philosophy. A way of living that you don't negotiate just because no one's looking. Because one day, you will be tested. Not by a camera. Not by a stage. But by life itself. A moment will come when everything you believe will be challenged. When your principles will cost you something. When your strength will be measured in silence. Not in words, but in your ability to hold the line. And in that moment, you'll either rise on the back of the substance you built, or you'll fold under the weight of the compromises you made. This is why you must prepare in the dark for the battles you'll face in the light. Why you must train your character like it's your most valuable asset. Because it is. Not your status. Not your talent. Not your following. Character is the one thing that will either carry you through success, or quietly destroy you underneath it. And it's not something you build on stage. You build it when no one cares. When it would be easier to lie, and you tell the truth anyway. When it would be easier to coast, and you push harder anyway. When it would be easier to cut corners, and you sharpen your standards instead. That's where substance is formed. That's where you earn the right to respect yourself. Because you know what you're made of. Not hype. Not noise. Not illusion. But depth. Discipline. Devotion to the long game. The world is full of people trying to appear successful. But the ones who are successful in the only way that matters. In a way that gives them peace, integrity, and real fulfillment. They are the ones who chose the deeper road. They delayed gratification. They traded attention for intention. They said no to good things in order to build greatness. They said, I will not just accumulate, I will become. I will not just succeed, I will matter. I will not just look strong, I will be strong. So stop asking how fast you can go. Start asking how deep you can grow. Because depth is what holds you steady when life gets loud. Depth is what keeps you from running when things get hard. Depth is what allows you to build something permanent in a world of temporary. And to build that kind of depth, you must master one powerful, underrated skill. Self-respect. Not confidence. Not arrogance. Self-respect. The quiet power that comes from knowing you do what you say you'll do. The internal fire that comes from holding your own standard. Not because someone is watching, but because you are. Because at the end of the day, you have to live with you. And here's the reality. There will be seasons where no one understands your discipline. Where your growth makes others uncomfortable. Where people say you've changed, and they're right. Because you were meant to. There will be seasons where you feel like you're walking alone. But that solitude is where self-trust is built. That's where clarity forms. That's where you stop living for the world's approval. And start building from within. Because you'll realize something most never do. You are the architect of your life. And if you don't take that role seriously, you'll live in a house built by your fears, your weaknesses, and other people's expectations. But if you take it seriously, if you learn to build with vision, discipline, and integrity, then every year, every season, every failure becomes a brick in a foundation that cannot be shaken. You want peace? Earn it. You want purpose? Define it. You want fulfillment? Live with alignment. Don't just chase progress, pursue principle. Don't just gather tools, grow roots. Don't just fix the outside, fortify the inside. Because the strongest people in the world don't show it with noise. They show it with presence. With clarity. With the unshakable peace that comes from knowing they didn't just chase success, they became someone worthy of it. And that's the goal. Not just what you do. Not just what you earn. But who you become in the process. Are you trustworthy? Are you grounded? Do you do the right thing even when it costs you something? Those are the questions that matter. And they don't get answered on stages. They get answered in the quiet. In the choices. In the hours you thought no one would remember, but you did the right thing anyway. That's the essence of substance. You live what others pretend. You choose what others avoid. You become what others only talk about. And in the end, when the lights fade, when the titles don't matter, when the applause dies down, you will still be standing. Not because you're perfect. Not because you had it easy. But because you built your life on truth. And truth doesn't shake. Truth doesn't crumble. Truth holds. Substance is rare. That's why it's valuable. That's why you feel the difference when you meet someone who has it. They don't have to say much. They don't have to impress you. Their life speaks. Their presence speaks. Their choices echo louder than their words ever could. You know why? Because they've been through something. They've faced themselves. They've wrestled with truth and come out the other side, not unscarred, but undeniably real. You see, there comes a point in your life where the external rewards stop meaning anything. If the internal person isn't someone you respect, it doesn't matter how much money you make. If you're ashamed of how you got it, it doesn't matter how many people know your name. If you can't sleep at night because you betrayed your values to get there, there is no win in the world worth that loss. And here's the hard part, most people don't realize it until it's too late. Until the applause fades. Until the deals dry up. Until they wake up with everything they once dreamed of. And feel nothing but regret. But you have a choice right now. To build a life that feels good, not just looks good. To build a life that lasts, not just one that impresses. And it starts with one question. What kind of person are you committed to becoming? Not what kind of goals you're chasing. Not what kind of things you want to have. What kind of person? Because once that question is clear, everything else follows. Your schedule starts to change. Your habits start to change. Your standards rise. Your tolerance for mediocrity evaporates. And it's not because someone told you to change. It's because you finally realize that you've only got one life. One shot. One brief window of time to build something that will outlive you. And you refuse to waste it. You refuse to live on autopilot. You refuse to trade your potential for comfort. You refuse to become a product of your environment instead of the architect of your character. From this moment on, you decide. You will live by principle. You will cultivate discipline. You will honor your word. You will do the hard things, not because they're easy, but because they make you someone worth becoming. You will rise earlier. You will think deeper. You will cut the noise. You will take full ownership, not partial, not conditional, full. No more blaming. No more waiting. No more outsourcing your destiny to someone else's opinion or approval. Because you've seen the truth. The ultimate success is not a result. It's a reputation. A reputation with yourself. That when life got hard, you didn't fold. That when shortcuts appeared, you didn't take them. That when your values were tested, you stood firm. That when comfort whispered, you chose conviction. So the world can have its applause. You're after something deeper. Something real. Something no one can give you, because it has to be earned. And when it is, when you wake up and look in the mirror and see a person you built with integrity, you'll feel it. Not pride. Not ego. But peace. The kind of peace that can't be bought. The kind that comes from knowing you became the person you were born to be. That's the life of substance. That's the life worth living. And it's not just possible, it's necessary. Because the world doesn't need more performers. It needs more pillars. More people who don't just succeed, but who stand for something. So be one of them. Start today. Build your life from the inside out. Brick by brick. Decision by decision. Hour by hour. And when it's done, when the dust settles and the world moves on, you will have left something behind that no one can erase. A legacy of truth. A reputation of strength. A life of substance. And that is the highest success of all.